Hello, everyone. I'm Tom Corradini, and welcome back to Physical Lounge, our streaming format or web format linked to Fisico, the Alba International Physical Theatre Festival. And I have the pleasure today to have in front of me Roger Kay, live from Brighton, UK. And Roger is a theatre producer, a theatre manager, because he runs a theatre in Brighton as well, named Rialto. And last but not least, he's also heavily involved with the Brighton Fringe, which is, but Roger's going to speak about that in depth, the second biggest fringe in Great Britain, United Kingdom, whatever you want to put it, after Edinburgh. So Roger, first of all, welcome to the show.
Hello, Tom. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Well, if you want to introduce yourself, what you do, and you run a theater company, if I remember correctly. And so if you want to tell me the name of your theater company, and then we can continue speaking about Rialto, this theater.
Sure, no problem. Okay, so I'm the founder of the Rialto Theatre in Brighton. We started the theatre in 2014, and we're still going strong in spite of COVID. I co-founded a theatre production company a year or so earlier than that, Pretty Villain, we're called. And so I've produced about 25 shows in my time so far. I direct as well. So at Rialto, one of the reasons that we started the Rialto was that we felt that Brighton needed an accessible space. So we wanted to create our own work, but we also wanted to host great work from local companies or international companies, and we do both. So that's how we started, and that's really why we started.
Okay, so I'm just playing with the studio here, getting to learn this. We've been knowing each other for quite a while, and I gotta say something. You were the one that had a passion for theater. I didn't. I came into theater by accident in a way. So, you know, and as far as the Rialto is concerned. A beautiful space. I had the pleasure to be there a couple of times, and correct me if I'm mistaken, but it did win an award as one of the best venues for the Brighton Fringe at one point, didn't it?
No, not exactly. The individual shows pick up awards.
Okay.
And we've had lots and lots of shows that won awards, and including I've been fortunate enough that some of the shows that I've directed and produced have also won awards.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's it really.
All right. The theater is named after a famous bridge in Venice, just to give some background about the name. Partly. Oh, tell me the story.
Partly.
Tell me the
story.
story.
Partly. So we wanted a name that would resonate, and we wanted an image that we could use. And we kicked around a lot of names and ideas. And the Rialto, because I have some roots with Italy. I lived in Italy in the 1980s. I went to Venice a lot, and the Rialto Bridge, it's famous. It's used in Shakespeare in The Merchant of Venice. It's a place where people would stop and gossip and speak about events. What news on the Rialto, I believe, is the quote. But more than that, there is a theatre district in New York, just off Broadway, and it's known as the Rialto area. So we brought all that together, including some of the imagery of the bridge, and we felt that was something that we could use.
All right, so we've got a nice triangulation: New York, Italy, and Brighton, UK. Now,
that's right.
For the people that never visited Brighton, Brighton is a very peculiar city. I live there as well, and not because maybe I think people ought to know. So it's an extremely artistic city. Not only theater, but like if you just think about music, there's so much music in Brighton, and just makes my mind explode considering the size of the city. So many people think about the UK, the London scene, and so on, but Brighton does have quite a scene, and probably I would say the quality of life is much better than London. So
Well,
Sorry.
I'm very proud to be from Brighton. I've lived here for a fair chunk of my life. Brighton is about 1/3 of 1 million people, but we get many more tourists than that every year. There's a huge international aspect of Brighton. There's a lot of foreign language students who come here. Lots of tourists, lots of exchange students. As you say, the art scene is huge. It's not just theatre, but dance and music and art itself. Brighton Festival and Brighton Fringe are the biggest artistic events in England, and it's been going for 50 years plus.
Okay.
So it's a big thing.
Yeah. Sorry if I interrupted you. Before we speak about the Brighton Fringe, though, let's stay with Rialto for a second. Now,
sure.
Before COVID, you had a year-long season with lots of shows, and I must say, and I'm trying to be as unbiased as I can, although I know you, the quality of the shows as well was really high. I mean, at least the one I saw, and also I think the merit goes to you and to all of your team. It's not just you. That there's a fantastic bar as well, inside the theater, which is pretty important in the UK.
Yeah, thank you. Very important to us, yeah.
Yeah. So no, it's not that I want to sadden people about this, but certainly COVID has hit you and has hit the whole of the UK. So how did you manage to get by during this, this year-long lockdown period?
Well, the answer is, Tom, that we just had to make the best of it. So when COVID hit, which was March last year, we had, as you suggest, we had a program of events booked all the way through until summer of 21, and one by one we had to cancel all of those. So we've been pretty much shut for 1 year now. We've been able to do the odd event. We've done some filming. Some bands have used the space to rehearse and to stream. We've done a couple of streaming events with cabaret and theatre, but essentially we are just waiting to open. And that's it.
Okay, and I think you will open for the Brighton Fringe, and that brings us to okay. That brings us to this particular Fringe. I also had the chance to meet the director, Julian Caddy, and so on, and all the team involved. That's a big event. I mean, it is really big in Brighton. I don't know if it's the biggest event in Brighton, but certainly it is very, very big, seen from the outside. So how are you guys coping? Are you going to open Rialto again? What's happening? Can you...
Okay, so what's happening is, so the Fringe opens 28th of May. And the Rialto will be very much at the heart of that. I've been curating our schedule, and we're just about there. The deadline for this year's Fringe is in about 48 hours' time. I'm just helping some of the producers to get their shows over the line for registration at the moment. But we will have about 25 or 26 different companies in. And we will host 85, 90 performances of those shows. We've had to cut down our offering this year because of COVID. We know that we need to give more time in between shows, and there are going to be restrictions on audiences and the way that the participants can behave in the space. But we still look to have a very strong offering.
So can I ask you, just out of curiosity, I mean, are there any guidelines already set on how you're going to run the theater? And I'm speaking, when I say you, I'm saying you in general, everyone that has a venue in Brighton. I mean, how about social distancing? How does it work? Limited capacity?
There's two things really. One, so from 17th of May in England, the theatres can open with 50% capacity as a maximum. That's a general guideline. But then each individual venue has to look at what they can do, write a COVID risk assessment, and then operate within the parameters of the risk assessment. Now we've done that. We're going to open with a maximum of 50 people, and that guideline is in place until at least the 20th of June.
Okay, 50 people for, and if I remember correctly, the total capacity of the theater pre-COVID was like 100 and something, wasn't it?
It was about 100, yeah.
Okay, well, that's good news, I think, because in Spain, as far as I understand, they opened with 30% capacity. So, and I guess that's because of the vaccination, the vaccination pace in the UK, probably. I think
the UK vaccination pace has been startlingly good, really quick. I think as of last Friday, we vaccinated 30 million adults. So we can foresee that almost every adult that wants the vaccination, by the time the Fringe opens, will have had it.
Okay, that's great news, and I'm really glad about that. Can I ask you a question, though? Because you mentioned a lot of companies. You said 60 companies, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that, just for your theater?
We'll be hosting about, I think, 26 or 27 companies.
Sorry. Okay, but are they all from the UK, or is there any company coming from abroad?
No, we have one from Switzerland, one from Ireland. I think we would have had others from overseas, but those from overseas have been the ones that have cancelled pretty much.
Okay, of course.
So I think it's a little bit less international this year, understandably, than it would normally be.
Okay, just last question before we finish. What I did notice going into the Eventotron, whatever is called, the platform which is used to apply for shows, what I did notice, if I had to compare Brighton to, let's say, Avignon in France, there seems to be already pretty much an opening towards streaming the shows as well as hosting the shows live. It kind of gives me an impression. A lot of venues, I don't know if your venue in particular, but a lot of venues will have both of them. So they will host the show live and at the same time stream it or sell the tickets, as streamed shows. Are you doing that as well? What's the story?
I think first of all, you are absolutely right. A lot of venues are looking to do both. We aren't particularly trying to do that. We don't have a big team. We will have enough to do to run the venue with the restrictions that COVID force upon us. To stream every show would add a degree of complication that I don't think we would feel very comfortable with.
Okay.
But one or two companies wish to stream, and we've said that we have no objection, but we aren't looking to do that as a theatre.
Okay. How about another thing? I'm sorry, it's the last question. Brighton Fringe, if I'm not mistaken, this year will not publish a paper guide.
Correct.
And is that correct? And as I understand, that's going to be probably forever. I actually don't know. How about you? How about your theatre? Will you publish a paper guide? Are you going to go paperless as well?
Yes, we will. No, we've taken a decision. It's partly because Brighton Fringe are not doing one that we feel that we need to publicise our shows more. So you may recall the quality of the paper guide from the previous years, and we're going to do something again very similar. And this year, I think it's particularly important.
Okay, great. I really don't have any further questions to ask. If you want to shoot us some websites. What is the website of Rialto Theatre? Somebody wants to give a look, or Brighton Fringe as well, if you remember it.
Yeah, sure. So, guys, we are www.rialtotheatre.co.uk. Brighton Fringe is a huge deal, but we also offer a route to other fringes. We're very pleased to be cooperating with the Fisico Fringe at Alba. We have a lot of contacts at Edinburgh, Prague, Kansas City, lots of fringes. So we see ourselves as part of the international group, let's say.
And And you definitely are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Because you came last year to our festival, and it was a pleasure to have you there. And well, you know, who dares wins. No, that's
Absolutely.
the
And
SAS motto. So we got to dare, especially.
It was an absolute pleasure to come last year, an absolute pleasure to come to the first one. COVID has got in the way of this year's, but next year I would love to come again.
Okay. Well, Roger Kay from Rialto Theatre, thank you very much.
Tom, all the best to you.